Here on All In, and I hope you know this because you've seen us before, we're truly all in to everyone. It starts first and foremost with small business and entrepreneurs. And sadly, time after time, we hear the same story regardless of the business. People get into business for themselves because they're passionate about something, because they're really good at it. They turn it into a business and immediately find out, as good as I am at what I know, there's so much about the business world I don't know. I don't have a clue how to run a business, and then the whole thing blows up and they don't get to follow through with their dream. Well, the guest today here on the show is in a business herself that's solely there to help entrepreneurs do it the right way, do it the best way, do it the most successful way. Her name is Jackie Kibler. The name of her company is JW Kibler Group. Jackie, let's meet you right now. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Great to see you.
Great to see you too. Thanks so much for having me today.
Well, thank you for being here. And before we get into exactly what you do, it's fair enough to say your business is all centered around helping entrepreneurs, correct?
Yes, 100%.
All right. And you have a little background before doing this. You're familiar with entrepreneurs because you grew up with an entrepreneur. Is that correct as well?
I did. My father had a music business for around 50 years.
Okay, so I don't, 50 years, well, it sounds like he figured it out, by the way, if he went on that long. But sadly, a lot of entrepreneurs, as I was saying on the intro, they get into business because they're really passionate about something, but they don't know anything about running business, and the whole thing blows up and their dreams shattered. So that's where you come in as an EOS implementer. I'm familiar with that, as you know, a lot of people aren't. So tell us quickly, EOS, what does that stand for?
So it stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and it's based off the book Traction, which was written by Gino Wickman.
It's just a fascinating book. I'll tell everybody, peek behind the curtain. I've read the book and I'm familiar with the process and totally understand how it can help people out. But I'm curious about this. When did you decide to become an implementer and why?
So thanks for that question. I actually found out about EOS when I worked at an organization called Vistage Worldwide, which is a CEO organization. I worked with around 100 CEOs who were entrepreneurs, who were successful in their businesses. And then when they went to Vistage, they had to create their own practices, and I helped them to build and grow it. And I went right back into that entrepreneurial atmosphere with all of those visionaries who are people that have great ideas. They're passionate about what they do. And I fell in love with the comfort and the energy around working with them. It's there that I learned about EOS. And when I read the book Traction and met some of the implementers in Los Angeles, which is where I live, I just fell in love with it. It was everything that I did innately when I had direct reports, except I was able to have something in a proven system that was global with a community. And and it was everything I did on steroids. So when I decided to open my own business, that was the only thing I wanted to do, was to become a professional EOS implementer within the EOS community.
What's the timeline on that? When did you get started as an implementer?
So I began my practice or doing some biz dev in probably summer of 2019. I got certified and went through training in September of 2019, which, as you can imagine, was 6 months before COVID hit. But I'm very grateful with the community that I surround myself with, because I have been able to grow my practice steadily, particularly around those amazing CEOs who have been taking COVID or the pandemic that we're in right now to strategically place their company. So they're be able to grow it and pivot in the organization that they have now, in the environment that we're in.
You know, I love that word community. We talk about it a lot here on the show, and even in your profession, yes, you have your own business. So there's a whole community of like business owners and the same thing, that you can bounce ideas off of each other and whatnot. And at the end of the day, the entire community that you're associated with helps the people that you work with, the companies. As far as that goes, Kimberly, let make sure everybody knows that you're not locked into just one industry. This EOS system can work pretty much everywhere. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I've got everything from restaurant groups to construction to agriculture, marketing firms, investment companies, It's across the board. And I love it because, to your point earlier, those leaders are passionate about what they do, but it's the business side that usually stays the same. And that's where they could use some help, really creating a structure within the organization to help them be more scalable and escalate their business to the next level.
Well, and what works the best, if they implement this system, they're not creating a structure, they're utilizing a structure that's already in place, that's been proven time after time that it works. They don't have to start from scratch. They just jump on board and bring in a professional like you to help get everything implemented, thus the name implementer. And so they're able to take this existing successful system and work within their company. All right, so we talked about how you can work with companies in different industries. What about sizes of companies? What's the sizes of companies that you work with?
So I'll give you the sweet spot. The sweet spot is an employee range of anywhere from 10 employees to around 250 to 300. The interesting thing is, though, many of the implementers, including myself, have some that are above that number and some that are below that number, because truly what we're looking for is that mindset. So if you have a CEO who is wanting change, who knows that their way of doing things, what got them here won't help them grow to the next level, that they're green and growing is the words that we'll use. And if they have that type of mindset and are open to change and trying new things and willing to take that leap, I would work with them, and I would wager 90% of the implementers that are in my community would also work with them.
You know, I could understand how it might be easy to, if I'm just starting a company, to bring you on board in the entire EOS system, because this is the way I want to do it. But talk to me about the difficulties, if any, of taking a company that's been around for a while and everybody's set in their ways, and then out of nowhere, Jackie shows up with this whole new EOS system. How is that received?
So that's really interesting, because I one of the restaurant groups I work with is 100 years old. And I've got other companies that are third generation, 60, 70 years old. But the thing that makes this work is, even as we're introducing ourselves to the leadership team for our what's called a 90-minute meeting, which is where we learn more about them. They learn about EOS, my background, the tools and the process, and they have all their questions answered. We're not just talking to the CEO. It's the CEO and everyone on that executive leadership team. So when they go into their first session with me, which is called a focus day, they're all lock in step, excited to move forward.
So is it, and I don't have time obviously to get into the whole process, but is it a train the trainer type deal, to where you're meeting with the people on this level to get them on board, and then they train the people below them regarding the system as well, or not?
So what happens is, once we build out, there's 3 days that are the foundational days, right? There's the focus day and 2 vision building days. From there, when the executive team is all lock in step with what they want to do, they've got the cadence down of the level 10 meetings, they've done their rocks, etc. Then we work with the CEO to craft out a core value speech to have a quarterly kickoff, or in this case, an annual kickoff, just because of the time of year we're at, where then they begin to bring in stories about the core values where everyone in the company can align to it. And so that's really how the beginning of the implementation occurs. What happens after the kickoff meeting with the CEO is all the senior leaders, to your point, begin working with their direct reports and begin implementing EOS. And of course, I'm there, and I'm sure other implementers are there, in effort to help the rest of the functional teams move fluidly through the process.
You know, and it's like anything else, Kimberly, if the people feel that they have ownership in everything, it's going to work out better for everyone. I know that's a big piece of it as well. Hey, I can't believe we're out of time already, but I just want to make sure everyone understands it doesn't matter if you're just starting, you've been around for 100 years or more, you might want to check this out. Maybe you'll find out that you could do it even better. Thanks a lot, Jackie. Appreciate you being with us today. Keep helping those businesses out there.
Thank you.